Every year, there's a difference between the best films and your favourite films. And I have seen a great deal of all the best films that have come out this year, which makes me want to rank them all in a top 10 list. This list is my personal top 10, my favourites from the year, rather than what I believe to be objectively the best films that have come out in 2025. And because this is the first video of the new channel, please subscribe and like the videos and help share this with as many people as possible so I can share my love of cinema to as many people as I can. And of course, there is my Letterboxd account as well, which is currently on screen, so give me a follow if you want to build your community. Now, with that out of the way, here are my top 10 films of 2025. Number 10, The Smashing Machine. This film was desperately needed for The Rock, who produced his best ever performance on screen. On the surface, it's a sport biopic, and I've seen many of them over the years, and I've loved this genre of films. But The Smashing Machine caught my attention for two reasons. Firstly, the director in Benny Safdie, and secondly, a much needed, more darker, more dramatic role for The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I actually enjoyed this film way more on a second viewing. It was oddly comfortable and warm, and despite it being quite a slow film in terms of most biopics, I just really enjoyed the performances, and Chris Nolan called The Rock's performance the best of 2025, which is extremely high praise, and while I don't think it was quite the best, it was definitely one of the best, and we've seen that already represented with a Golden Globe nomination, his first, and he might well get that Oscar nomination nod, which would be just an incredible achievement for The Rock himself. Number 9, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Hard to be in here and not feel his presence.
Whose? Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're not a Catholic.
No, very much not. No.
Now, this is a film and a film trilogy and series that really understands its audience and has a style that they have continually stuck to. It really is an exceptional cast with the likes of Glenn Close, Josh O'Connor, Josh Brolin, to name a few. But obviously the standout will be Josh O'Connor, who was very much the main character of this film and this murder mystery. He fits into that slot in these films where he is the main character that Annette de Armas was in the first film and Janelle Monáe was in the second. So I really enjoyed it. I really love the murder mystery genre. And the Knives Out trilogy is now complete. There will be more in the series, I'm sure. They're very successful, but this may well be the best of the three so far. Number 8, Caught Stealing. Now, this film did something that I really didn't expect. It genuinely surprised me. This film has an unpredictable energy, it's very tense, it's a bit wild, it's quite violent, and overall it was just a really fun ride. A lot of that chaos comes from Matt Smith's character, who sports one of cinema's great mohawks, if not the best. And of course there's the likes of Austin Butler, who's the lead of the film, there's Zoe Kravitz, and about halfway through the film we're introduced to a couple of Hasidic Jews played by Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio, the Kingpin himself. And that duo was probably the funnest duo I saw in cinema this year. They were just an absolute riot and completely brutal, and really turned the film up a couple of notches. It is a little bit of a messy film, but in the best way possible, and it ended up being one of the funnest times I had watching a film this year. And of course, an adorable cat can never hurt your chances on one of my lists. Number 7, Mickey 17.
I'm not you. I'm not gonna live like you. I'm gonna kill you.
Mickey 17 might well just be one of the most underappreciated films of the entire year. Coming from Bong Joon-ho, the director of Parasite, this was just a really fun and original sci-fi outing. Robert Pattinson plays twin characters and gives 110% in his role, and he should definitely do more comedy because he really does suit it, and he was really fun in this film. The tone also really surprised me. It's really funny, it's weird, it leans into the sci-fi elements, and it's definitely very emotional as well. It knows when to be absurd and when to pull back a little bit, and the absurdity definitely comes mostly from Mark Ruffalo's character, who is one of the strangest and weirdest that he's ever played, but also the most fun as well. But I think he's hilarious throughout. Simply put, it's a unique sci-fi action, comedy adventure that really did get missed by a lot of people, and it definitely should be revisited if you haven't seen it so far. Number 6, A Real Pain.
You know, and I jog and I meditate and I go to work in the morning and I come home at the end of the day and I move forward, you know, because I know that my pain is unexceptional, so I don't feel the need to I don't know, burden everybody with it, you know?
This is one of the most quiet and most intimate films of the entire year. And while it is listed as a 2024 film online, it only hit cinemas here early in January, which means it does count on this list. Real Pain is incredibly intimate, and it mostly stems from the relationship between Jesse Eisenberg's character and Kieran Culkin's character. Both are, I believe, are terrific actors, and they're definitely at their best here. I really loved this film, and it really did stick with me for a long time. I'm definitely drawn to films that explore themes like this in this type of setting. It was very much a very nice film to enjoy, to go along with the adventure with them, and as well as that emotional adventure as well. And combining the talents of Eisenberg and Culkin, that combination really worked for me, and I really did enjoy this film, and it's definitely a lot higher than most people would have on their list, but for me it was definitely something that resonated with me a lot. Number 5, Superman. Now, this was my most anticipated film of 2025, and I really believe it stuck the landing. I absolutely adore everything that James Gunn has done, and also shout out to Peacemaker Season 2, which also did come out in 2025 as well. But I absolutely adore the character of Superman, and it's someone that I did grow up watching. A fresh take on the character was desperately needed after that very dark period with Henry Cavill and the Zack Snyder films, which I do love, but this definitely nailed the character of Superman far more with that real positive outlook. Now, it's not a perfect film, but you have to say it nails the character of Superman to a T. You have to say across the board, the cast and the casting was absolutely perfect. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor gives one of the best comic book performances from a villain that we have seen. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was perfectly cast. The whole Daily Planet crew and everyone else in the film really just brought it in every scene, and I really enjoyed how vibrant the colours were, the soundtrack and everything. I just really enjoyed the whole experience. And with the sequel already greenlit, written and announced, roll on The Man of Tomorrow. Number 4, Frankenstein.
I have the sole petition. Make one like me.
I would say that this is probably the biggest surprise of the year. Frankenstein manages to balance two elements, feeling both fresh whilst also retelling an old story. Again, this is a painfully intimate and emotional film, and spends a lot of time with Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster, who delivers one of the performances of the year. The start of the Kissing Booth franchise. I mean, who saw that coming? Guillermo del Toro breathes fresh life into a character that has been done to absolute death. It reminded me of how Matt Reeves came in 2022 and revitalized the Batman. Del Toro did exactly the same here for Frankenstein. And this is proof that even the most familiar stories can feel brand new. Number 3, Marty Supreme. Now, Marty Supreme has confidence, quality, and a vibrance pouring out of absolutely every single shot. I imagine my top 3 will be most people's top 3 for the year, but Marty Supreme was definitely one of the most entertaining and exciting cinematic rides that we had this year. And while Benny Safdie took on The Smashing Machine with The Rock, Josh Safdie took on this film with Timothée Chalamet in the lead role. And he definitely proved that he can carry a film on his own, as well as being in a different period of time. And speaking of Chalamet, I believe this is his best performance yet, and something that could earn him his first Oscar. He manages to balance the table tennis elements, the emotions, the stress, the willingness to come good on your obsession and your dreams, and he really delivered just a scintillating performance. Number 2, Sinners.
Admit to it.
Admit to what?
That you dead.
Now, anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely adore this film. Now, I've seen this film around 6 or 7 times, I've lost count, and I did see it twice in the cinema as well. And I probably have it as one of my most favourite films across the last 5 or so years. Now, I've loved Ryan Coogler from day one all the way back to Fruitvale Station, but I think this is his best film yet for the mix of cinematography, the original story, the incredible soundtrack, and just, it was refreshing, dark, fun, everything you'd want from a film. And in a world of prequels, reboots, sequels, and multiverses and cinematic worlds, it is great to just see an original film dominating cinema in terms of awards and in terms of what people enjoyed the most across the year. Now, I could talk about this film for hours, and I might well do a video on this at some point, but simply put, this was very, very close to being my favourite film of the year. Before we move on to the number 1 pick, here are some honourable mentions that didn't quite make the list. Here's a quick run through of what I could have included. Thunderbolts, So much more fun and interesting than it had any right to be. The Ballad of Wallace Island. It was quiet, intimate, kooky, and oddly moving. Begonia. Definitely not for everyone, but it was absolutely for me. Jay Kelly. I really loved this film, and Clooney was at his absolute best here. Black Bag. This was slick, sharp, and endlessly rewatchable. And a big shout out to Avatar Fire and Ash. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the other films overall, but that IMAX 3D experience was genuinely insane, and it's hard to deny the technical achievement even if the film didn't fully click with me. And number 1, one battle after another.
You been drinking today?
I've had a few.
A few what?
A few small beers.
I remember thinking around 20 or 30 minutes into this film, this is one of the best films I've seen in the last 5 or so years. Very much continuing on the theme of stress, this film was constantly on the move, it was fun, it felt fresh, it had a great cast, it was shot beautifully, and it really was just elite level cinema. Plus the performances across the board were absolutely incredible, whether it was Leo DiCaprio in the main role, Chase Infinity, taking on her first acting role, Teyana Taylor, Regina Hall, or the brilliant Benicio del Toro. However, Sean Penn had to be my standout performance from this film. He delivers one of the most incredible and strange villain performances that we've seen across the past decade, and his performance is definitely unforgettable. Personally, I don't believe there is a better film this year, and given that Sinners and One Battle After Another have been dominating the award season nominations, I feel pretty vindicated in having them in my top 2. So there we have it, those are my top 10 films of 2025. That's all for this video, but stay tuned as I will be uploading a most anticipated top 10 list for 2020. But I'll be back whenever some more news or trailers hit the film world, so until then, I'll see you in the next one.